Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV News Circle here in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Fauziya Lukman. President Bola Tinubu will be launching the renewed Hope Police Town Hall meeting on Monday in Lagos in a bid towards strengthening community policing and for Nigerians to key into the renewed hope agenda of his administration. Announcing this on Thursday in Abuja, Minister of State Police Affairs Imam Suleiman Ibrahim stated that she will be engaging stakeholders on Monday in Lagos. She added that the town hall meetings will not be held only in Lagos, but across the country to afford Nigerians the opportunity to hear their views on issues surrounding the security of lives and property in accordance with the global best practices. Special Advisor to the President on Health Matters, Dr. Salma Anas Ibrahim, said the poor attention to primary health care in Nigeria adds to the burden of morbidity and mortality, especially due to pregnancy-related conditions. Anas Ibrahim also said the challenges to reducing maternal and child death remain a problem of a poorly functional PHC system, with the issue of low health coverage for life-saving interventions, ill equipment and weak service delivery system, and low coverage with community and household level interventions, among others. She said this on Friday at the 7th Annual Conference of the Association of the Nigerian Health Journalists in collaboration with the World Health Organization in Nasarawa State. According to her, the primary health care is the fulcrum of a resilient health system and should be structured to be able to deliver services that will support the attainment of UHC and guarantee health security. The Nigerian Senate Committee on Labour and Productivity, led by Senator Dickett Plank, has taken steps to the augment of the 2024 budget of the Labour Ministry, aligning it with the ministry's proposed allocation of 13 billion. This action was prompted by the motion raised by Senator Tahir Manganu during the committee's meeting with the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon, Minister of State Honorable Nkiruka Onyejicha, and other ministries member at the National Assembly complex in Abuja. Sandra Akwa has the details.
Senator Mongono emphasized the committee's authority in appropriation, asserting that they possess the power to adjust the budget as necessary.
This budget as presented by the executive is not sacrosanct. It's subject to tinkering by the legislature. So as such, we have all the powers of appropriation. This is very clear and unequivocal in the Constitution. The power of appropriation lies with the National Assembly. So if in our wisdom and in the wisdom of our appropriation committee and the leadership, that the allocation that is made given to the Ministry of Labour and Productivity is grossly inadequate, we have all the powers to tinker it and increase it in tandem with the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
This committee, that what has been submitted, what has been estimated, or the envelope given to Ministry of Labour and Productivity should be increased? Yes. Is it all your opinion?
Yes. Expressing gratitude, the ministers highlighted the challenge of inadequate funding in the Labour Ministry. Minister Simon Lalong pointed out that insufficient funding for labor issues contributes to civil unrest in some African countries.
There was every strike everywhere. There were reasons for some of this strike. If the ministry is well funded, there will be no strike in Nigeria. No strike in Nigeria. There will be no strike in Nigeria. You can see most of the African countries now, they are collapsing and people are now changing government because the workers are not adequately kept.
Sandra Akpa reporting for Global TV News.
The federal government has announced the immediate enforcement of the Disability Rights Act starting in January. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, made this known while addressing journalists on World Disability Day in Abuja. She says the act in an effort to protect the rights and improve the lives of persons living with disability in Nigeria. Global TV brings you more. The Disability Rights Act was passed by the National Assembly in January 2019 after several years of advocacy by disability rights activists. However, the legislation has not been fully enforced until now. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation says the enactment and implementation of the Disability Act is a deliberate collection of data of persons with disability, adding that the Act covers a wide array of rights, including the prohibition of discrimination against persons with disability in various sectors such as education, employment, healthcare, and public transportation. However, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation further called on speakers at the State House of Assembly to domesticate the Act.
The Disability Act has made provisions to prohibit all forms of discrimination, marginalization, and abuse of persons with disability. The government is already putting in place mechanisms to establish an access to work scheme for persons with disability. We are challenging all the speakers and the state houses of assembly to quickly swing into action, working with the executive to domesticate this act.
Executive Secretary, National Commissions for Persons with Disability, NCPWD, explained that the Act is aimed at eradicating discrimination and ensure equal opportunities for every citizen, irrespective of their physical or mental abilities, adding that the Commission is transiting from the era of advocacy to the era of enforcement to ensure the provisions of the law are properly enforced.
The era of enforcement is here. By January, the Commission is expected to move out in full force to make sure that the provisions of the law are properly enforced. The Commission will start meeting with its own partners, compose the task force immediately before this Christmas. Everything will be on ground before the roundup of this year, so that as we come early next year, the task force will be inaugurated. Immediately after inaugurating the task force, immediately by the time on the 16th of January 2024, our assessment may not only end on the physical facilities, but the composition of the staff in these institutions. We want to know how many they have as persons with disabilities, the total number of the staff in these institutions, and then the maintenance of the 5% in these institutions. So we have to find out all of this so that we can be able to know whether they comply with the...
The House Committee Chairman on Disability, Honorable Bashir Daudu, shed light on sanctions on the discrimination of persons with disability and proposed establishment of a university for the deaf in Nigeria.
It is the law of Nigeria that if you discriminate against a person with disability, there are sanctions. If you approve a building without following the code, you can be imprisoned for that. All persons with disability must be insured with the NHIS. We're looking at the bill to set up a deaf university.
It is expected that the Enforcement Act passed into law will enhance the inclusion and accessibility of persons living with disability in Nigeria. Fauziya Lukman, Global TV News. In a bid to eradicate the form of injustice in the judicial system on individuals detained and further go on trials without having access to lawyers, the federal government, in partnership with legal stakeholders, have launched the Police Duty Solicitor Scheme, PDSS, to help curb out practices in the system. Sharon Ajay completes the story.
The Chairman Police Service Commission, Solomon Arase, says the natural right with enhancement of fundamental human rights of individuals unless otherwise proven respected. He emphasized on the need to push the scheme forward as part of its aim for the voiceless to be heard, decongesting the police cells of innocent people.
In view of the rising incidents and complaints from the public bordering on violation, infringements of people's human rights by the Nigerian police force, the introduction of the PDS in response to the imperative outlined in the Administrative or Criminal Justice, which the Attorney General just alluded to, was a watershed moment in our commitment to safeguarding the rights of individuals in police custody. Historically, detainees faced prolonged periods in police facilities without access to legal representation, leading to routine violation of their rights. The PDS, driven by a commitment to justice, has become a mechanism through which lawyers provide free legal services to detainees across Nigeria, ensuring that their rights are not only protected on paper, but upheld in praxis.
The Attorney General, Lateef Fagbemi, ably represented by Detail Department Gladys Odugbaru, in a speech urges all states to domesticate the scheme for full benefit of innocent prisoners and the government.
The scheme also comes with the advantage of preventing undue congestion of inmates in correctional facilities, with the consequential benefits of saving government the resources required to maintain a large population of inmates or detainees. I therefore enjoin all the states to domesticate the PDSS in order to extend the benefits of the scheme across the country and further deepen criminal justice reforms.
Based on the financial aid gotten by the federal government, aid has assured a successful operation of the scheme. Also added that the more the funds, the better the work.
But we can assure you that with the little that we have been able to be getting from the federal government in terms of our appropriation, in terms of statutory funding, we have been able to do as much as we can be able to do. But it is not to say that we cannot if we have more funding.
Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
Deborah Palm of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps came first in the female category, and Stephen Joshua of the Federal Fire Service came first in the male category in the 2023 Armed Forces and Other Security Agencies Marathon Championship in Abuja. The Minister of Defense, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Ibrahim Kana, says the competition is to provide a platform for the armed forces and other security agencies to interact with one another towards sustaining the good working relationship, building and enjoy over the years. Kikelomo Okiri has the details.
The half marathon was spiced up with a series of side attractions with the heads of Nigerian armed forces and security agencies all present.
It is at the top with difficult exercises on the high horse.
250 personnel of the Nigerian military, security and intelligence agencies participated in the 25.1 kilometer for both male and female marathon and 5 kilometer for veterans, which kickstart at 6 a.m. from Kubwa Expressway to Aguiyi-Ironsi Cantonment at Sokoro. The Minister of Defense, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary, says the marathon is aimed at forging cooperation among the security agencies for enhanced understanding and economy of common effort towards tackling the multi-dimensional internet security challenges in the country.
Certainly, we all know that the primary function of the Nigerian Ministry of Defense is to ensure the state of readiness of the Nigerian armed forces and for any intervention, whether in land, air or sea. And in order to maintain that state of readiness is to ensure that we organize regular sporting events like this. And everyone knows that physical activities such as running, especially marathon, is the best form of physical maintaining and sustaining physical fitness. Therefore, the Ministry of Defense actually fully supports the Defense Headquarters in organizing this.
In his remark, the Chief of Defense Staff says the Defense Headquarters will continue to project the excellent relationship with other security agencies so as to seek areas for more collaboration and enhancing synergy of efforts, adding that the sporting activities is a platform for the participants to continue to build operational capacity that will enhance the peace and security of the nation.
We know that the armed forces, especially and again all the security agencies, sports is vital. Marathon builds up endurance, and we know our job has to do with a lot of endurance. And so this is a way to cap up, and you know this is the end of the year, so that this sounds like a reminder that we need to put in more efforts. And so we want to encourage everyone so that we have more participants in future to participate in this, so that we can have a more robust competition event for everyone to take part and then to benefit for the benefit of the country.
This is the fourth time Deborah Palm will emerge winner since the inception of the championship.
This position under the female category, I'm feeling happy, excited, because I'm the champion of this marathon this morning. Since they started the defense marathon, I'm the one that's been winning it. So I still thank God. I'm very happy that I still maintain my position, and I trade is behind it is training, and if you are disciplined with the program, if you are faithful, if you keep yourself in one place and maintain what they ask you to do, you can able to perform very well.
But I still put up my best and tell myself I can still come and win.
The high point of the event was the presentation of cash prize of 1 million naira and brand new cars for the winner of both male and female category.
The category goes to
the fourth edition of the Chief of Defense Staff, Armed Forces and Security Agencies Half Marathon Championship is part of the CDS vision to build inter-agency cooperation among the military and security agencies in the country. From Agui Rosi Cantonment in Abuja, Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Watching Global TV News Circle, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We are on StarTime channel 276. Kindly follow us across social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. When the news circle returns, counterfeit notes in circulation as naira scarcity persists. CBN. The news continues with details of these and other stories right after this short break. Please don't go away. Welcome back to Global Television, bringing you live broadcasts of the news circle from the nation's capital, Abuja. The program officer of the Gombe State Agency for the Control of AIDS, SACA, Hassan Muhammad, has said that the number of children infected with the HIV virus have been on the increase, adding that gender-based violence plays a pivotal role in its spread. Muhammad disclosed this in an interview with journalists at the commemoration of the 2023 16 Days of Activism organized by the Center for Integrated Health Programs on Saturday. According to him, the cases of rape of children and homosexualities among adolescents increase the prevalence of HIV infections, adding that the state governor have in recent times suspended some big names from the office as a result of sexual harassment of small children in the society. Mohammed further said in SACA, these are one of the drives toward HIV in Gombe State, as small children and even mad people are being raped, transferring this kind of infections to the society, so it's a problem within the society these days. On the foreign scene, French Energy Minister Agnès Pannier-Runacher says on Saturday she was stunned after the oil cartel OPEC urged its members to tout any deal targeting fossil fuels at the COP28 conference. The minister said she was counting on the presidency of the COP not to be influenced by these declarations and to reach an agreement which aims to clear objectives of phasing out fossil fuels, stating that, quote and unquote, I am stunned by the statement from OPEC and I am angry, she said, from the climate conference in Dubai, adding that OPEC's position endangers the most vulnerable countries and the poorest populations who are the first victim of the situation. OPEC Secretary General Haitham Al-Ghai sent a letter to the group's 13 members and 10 Russian-led allies this week after negotiation at talks in Dubai released a draft deal that included calls for the phase-out of the fossil. Ghai urged the group to proactively reject any text or formula that targets energy rather than the emission. The letter has since drawn anger from the activists and the High Ambition Coalition, a broad group of nations ranging from Barbados to France, Kenya, and Pacific Island states. The United States had vetoed a United Nations Security Council resolution demanding an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in the war between Israel and Palestinian group Hamas in Gaza. The U.S. blocked the resolution Friday, backed by almost all other Security Council members and dozens of other nations demanding an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. 13 of the 15 Security Council members voted in favor of the draft resolution put forward by the United Arab Emirates, while the United Kingdom abstained. The vote came after UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres made a rare move on Wednesday to formally warn the 15-member council of a global threat for the 2-month-long war. The US and Israel opposed the ceasefire because they believe would only benefit Hamas, Washington instead support pauses in the fight to protect civilians and allow the release of hostages taken by Hamas in the deadly October 7 attack in Israel. And in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria on Friday said its attention has been drawn to the circulation of counterfeit banknotes. The bank regulator noted that the counterfeit noted were common in higher denomination by some individuals for transaction in food markets and other commercial centers across major cities in the country. In a statement signed by the Acting Director of Corporate Communications CBN, Sidi Hakam on Friday, this development came as bank depositors continue to complain of cash shortage both from the automated teller machine ATMs and over the counter in the banks. The Group Executive Chairman Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited NNPCL, Mili Kyari, yesterday described oil theft and vandalism in the Niger Delta region as a calamity, saying there are over 4,800 illegal connections on crude oil pipelines in the area and warned that this could frustrate the projection of the federal government. Speaking yesterday in Abuja when he appeared before the Senate Committee on Appropriation on the proposed budget for 2024, Kyari said the daily oil production will depend greatly on the security situation in the oil-rich Niger Delta region, describing the act of vandalism, oil theft going on there as a calamity completely abnormal. Meanwhile, there was a sharp disagreement between Senate and NNPCL over plans to increase the crude oil production benchmark in the 2024 appropriation bill from 1.7 million barrels per day to 1.8 million barrels per day. And in sport, Erik ten Hag has told Jadon Sancho that it's up to the player if he wants to salvage his Manchester United career by apologizing over their fallout. Sancho seems almost certain to leave Old Trafford when the transfer window reopens in January, after United can find a club willing to buy their exiled star or take him on a loan for the rest of the season. For more updates on sport, let's now join Anthony Momodou.
Hello sport fans, welcome to Sports News Update. Erik ten Hag has told Jadon Sancho that it's up to the player if he wants to salvage his Manchester United career by apologizing over their fallout. Sancho seems almost certain to leave Old Trafford when the transfer window reopens in January if United can't find a club willing to buy their exiled star or take him on loan for the rest of the season. The 23-year-old winger hasn't played for 3.5 months since effectively branding Ten Hag a liar over his reasons for leaving Sancho out of the defeat at Arsenal in September. He has been training on his own at Carrington on full pay after refusing to say sorry to Ten Hag, costing United around £4 million in wages under the terms of his £275,000 a week contract. There has been interest from Juventus and the Saudi League, while his old club Borussia Dortmund have been linked with a swap deal for Daniel Malin. Talking male tennis, Australian star Nick Kyrgios will miss the Australian Open for a second year in a row after succumbing to a wrist injury. The 28-year-old had a bumper 2022 season, reaching the Wimbledon final against Novak Djokovic and winning the Australian Open doubles with good friend Thanasi Kokkinakis. However, he has endured a wretched run of injuries in 2023, restricting him to just one professional matches all year, a straight set loss to China's Wu Yibing at the Stuttgart Open in June. The Aussie star was not named in the main draw on Thursday and has confirmed on his newly created OnlyFans account that he will miss the local Grand Slam because of an ongoing wrist complaint. Saudi Arabia's increasingly aggressive moves into golf are expected to be followed up by a decision to move the year-end finals of the Women's Tennis Tour to the Kingdom, with vibrations being felt from John Rahm's switch to leave male sport on the stance that an agreement to move the WTA finals to Saudi has now been finalized by both sides and is merely awaiting the signatures of both parties. A hitch, however, is the fear of how some of the legends of the women's game will react, particularly the iconic duo of Chris Evert and Martin Navratilova. Both have stated the belief that not enough progress has yet been made on equal rights to allow one of the most important tournaments to move there, and they are said to be watching developments closely. And that's how we call it a wrap on the Sports News Update. I am Anthony Momodou.
Thank you very much, Anthony, for the update. And that's it on Global TV News Circle. We are on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. On behalf of everyone at Global TV, I am Fawziya Lukman, thanking you so very much for watching.